Yeah, good evening, everyone. So, yesterday we learned about Redux and all. So, you practice this, uh, tried practice these options. Have any doubts? Any doubts are there related to this? Anyone have doubts? Uh, any issues? Any doubts? No. So, last session I explained a concept of scenario, how it is done. What is that? Mekin. Yes, Mekin, what is your doubt? You can unmute yourself if you have any doubt. Yes, Mekin Pandey, any doubt? What is the doubt? Where you are facing that problem?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'm getting this error like we have found serializable value in the payload dot header, and you have to, I mean, this is the error that you have to check the method which dispatch this action. But when I apply the middleware, the default middleware, the error is still there, and I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, can you share your screen once? Can I see that?
No, sir. Actually, the program is in my other laptop, and I'm
Fine, it's fine. Then in the next session, if you can share the screen so that I can check. Right. Yeah, in the next session, if we can see the problem, then we can handle it up. I will check. So anything else, anybody have any doubt? Any another? So everything fine? You practiced this? Huh? Now, one more option is actually, yesterday we saw how to create the store, configure and use it. I will upload one shopping like example with that Redux. You practice it, you try it, means complete example of that, so that you will get a complete idea on how all the integration works. Yesterday what we learned is we learned how to create a component, how to configure the state, how to define the actions, how to access those actions. We discussed that. So we created a slicer and we created store. Slicer defines the initial state and what are the actions. What is the initial state and what are the actions that is defined with slicer. Okay. And next one is we learned about how to configure the store. Usually store contains the cart slice, which contains both state and actions. So in index, we are configuring a provider where we can access and use the store anywhere. Now, suppose if you want to access the store, there are so many techniques of accessing and using the store. In the store, there are cart items and cart items count. Yesterday, you saw in the Redux development tools, you saw the graph hierarchy, how it displays. I showed you that. Now, here once you defined this hierarchy of elements, I will show you a concept of, suppose components, add a component. This is what cart. So we will define this as cart component, cart dot component. I'm adding cart dot component dot tsx. That's a cart component we are adding. In this cart component, I'm configuring export. So function, and this is cart component. And the cart component is returning a simple markup. And in this markup, we defined, say, just a button I am adding, your cart items, your cart, right? And here I defined just basically just a button is added here. Let's put this in our shopping TSS. This is cart component. How to access that here? So in shopping online, so for every product, we have a product detail. And let me keep here itself a simple, the component we will add here. What is the component? Cart. Cart component we are importing there. That means we are accessing a component in another component. We are doing that. Let's run this here. So this is npm start. So once the data is stored centrally in the state, you can access that from any location and use it. Where the data is present in store. In store, how data is present in the form of state. In the state, what data is present in our project here? We have cart items and cart count. So we need to access that and use it. That means now if you want to access whatever data is present inside React store that you created using Redux store, then you have to import the store and use it. You have to import the store and you can access it. I will show the process. Complete one cycle example I will upload. You try that. You see it just like shopping cart. That means how items are added, how items are removed, how items are managed in the cart, a complete end-to-end example. Actually, you have to try such examples. So I will give a sample example. You go through it with the Redux store. You must able to create, delete items from cart, add items to cart like that using the Redux store. So we are accessing that cart component and we are displaying in our component. Now, how you transport data from one component to another component. So a lot of techniques you have learned. You can use context, you can use cookies, you can use state related use reducer, right? So, or you can now use this Redux. Now you can see this is your cart items, your cart. This is another component actually that is coming from another component. So we have parent and we have child. Now yesterday you saw add to cart click, then items are updated into the store. We have a debugger, we can check that. Let's go to the inspect. In the inspect Redux development tools extension you add so that it will be helpful for you. This is the Redux development tools. Here it will show you the store, what it is having. The store that is there. It is having cart items and all. And already you saw that when user selects add to cart, this item is added. This is actually in store. Now you want to access the store. Usually anywhere if you want to access the store, this is not correct example. I will upload complete example, just process I am showing here. So we go to cart component. In this cart component, we need to import. What to import? We need to import store. Actually store. So store is already there. Yeah, store from the stores. So in store, we have this store created. That is actually the tsfax file that is having the store. Now here I am creating a constant. In the constant, suppose I am defining count and we are accessing the store. We are accessing the store. This store have an option get state. Get state, and you can see state have two details. It is returning an object. What it is returning? It is returning cart items. Another one, it is returning cart count. Cart count. Get state, you see, it is returning an object. This is object type. Na? Object is having a property called what? Store. That means it is having a store property. That store property will get those items. That means what items you are having. What is that get state? One is what? Cart items count. Where is that object here? Yeah, that is the object type get state. Yeah. So in the store, we have cart items, counter, cart count. We need cart count. That means what get state is doing, it is returning an object. That object name is store, and that store contains what? Cart count. This cart count we are adding. So here, that means the count, your cart items. So here I will put a square brace. Here I will put that count here. That means we are accessing and displaying the count. So we are accessing the state from the store and we are displaying, and you can see it is 0. The count is 0. And you are adding an item here. So add to cart. When you say add to cart, that means an item is added into the cart. Item is added into the cart, but here it is not updated. It is not updated. I will refresh the page and you see here when I am updating that items, whenever you reload the contents. But cart item count is coming, right? The cart item count is displayed there. Initially, what is the cart item count? It is 0. But it is not updated. You know what to do, because why it is not updated? Because when you configure this, it has to load this again, right? That means you know use effects, you know how to configure updates on use effect dependency. Now dependency is what? Whenever count is updated, you need to mount this component again. Component is already mounted now. Previously what it is having, it is showing that. Every time component have to mount, depends on which one count. That means actually what we do, usually the configurations get state accessing these, we define by using what? Use effect. And here we are accessing the data and displaying. That means, oh, sorry. Here I am just defining return. Yep. And when this must be updated again, this must be updated again dependency, the count. That means suppose I'm accessing the count on mount, we are accessing and displaying here. That means this is constant. First we declare above. Okay. And here we are defining some C is equal to what is the value? The count value you configured, and you are using that count value here, C. That means you are accessing that C value. This is a variable accessible inside the function. Better you create one state, right? That means you can get the count details and you can display the details here. Now what should happen? This count should be updated every time whenever the effect is loaded. So what is the dependency here? The dependency is what? Count. That means whenever count is updated, then it should get the new count and display the details. So this is basically adding the items. So it is not an example complete. So here I'm just giving you the point. This cart count, we have to get that and display. Now you see the count is updated and displayed here. Because dependency is whenever count is changed, the new item should come and display. I just created an outline. You have to design good interface for that. That means previously what we done? Previously we created cart items, count and cart items, filter cart items, display everything in one place. What is that place? I posted that example also. Everything in one component we designed. Now we are transporting data from one component to another. That means now user selects here. So user selects add to cart. So add to cart. Another item is added into the cart. That means it should load that item and display. It will take, because we are adding one more item into the cart. So this need to be updated. That means whenever it loads, it should get that new item and it should display that item into the cart. It is taking time. It is pushed and it is need to be updated. It is loaded, not. I refresh this application will go on. Resets. Okay. It is taking a while to load. It's fine. It is taking too long to upload this one. State is changed. Any console issues? Console issues are not there. Fine. Why it is not updated? This is use effect. This one also we will load. Where is use effect? Any here? So what is the dependency? Dependency is store. Dependency is the length of items from the store. It's okay, working fine. Huh? It is working, it is taking some, because the API is not responding immediately, right? It is taking a while, it's fine. So everything okay. So here what it is, we are accessing the data. This use effect indicates that component is loaded. So we have to load the component one more time, then you will get the new. And what is the dependency for loading the component? You need to configure. Dependency for loading the component is what? When the cart item count is changed, then it should handle. It should handle, right? So this you implement now. Can you write the logic for click that button and get those items and display? You can do that. That means what you try is you put a cart items list and these items must be displayed in that list. On the button click, you need to do that. On button click, get those cart items and display there, showing that these are your cart items. You can show cart items. That complete example you can implement, right? You try to implement anyhow. If you are having issues, I will upload that example. You check that, right? You can do this. So this is the concept of accessing the store. So how you access a store? There are so many techniques of accessing the store from Redux. So one simple point is, until yesterday, what you learned, create slicer, you learned create reducer, and you learned so configure provider. And after defining that, now you need to access the state from store. How to access the state from, that means steps I given you, step 1, step 2, how we do that. And the last step is accessing data from the store. For that, what is the first thing? You have to import store. Import store. This is the process you need to do. I will copy this one, right? Yeah. We need to import the store. After importing the store, next step is you need to access state from store. So for that, you have to use this get state. And actually this get state is going to return a store object which contains store cart, and also you can access constant items, and it is actually what type in any type array. Then you can configure store dot what get state dot store dot what cart items, because it is a collection, an array, and you can present these items anywhere. That means you can append to UI. So you append to UI. So that means anywhere I am displaying these options, I will put as count. That's what you need to do. So the process of accessing data from one component to another. So various methods of transporting the data. Now tell me all the concepts of transporting data. In questions, if anybody asks how to transport data, from one component to another. Tell me all possible concepts. How to transport data from one component to another. In React, this is a very popular common question. Right? Now tell me all the methods that you have learned of transporting data. So first one, you can do that by using what? Properties. This is for properties for which hierarchy? What is the hierarchy of properties? Properties hierarchy is, what is the hierarchy of properties? Simply one component to another? No, the hierarchy is actually parent and child. That means into which component you can pass the properties when the component is used as a child. Child, na? The hierarchy is parent and child. That means properties are transported from parent to child. Child is expecting properties, and in the parent, from the parent, you have to pass the properties. Right? From the parent, you have to pass the properties. Is there any another hierarchy for properties? One is parent-child hierarchy. Is there any hierarchy for properties? There is another hierarchy also. That is nothing but directly you can pass parameters. Right? Good. That is one option. That means, is it necessary that we have to access the component as a child only? Directly, can we access any component with properties? You can access, but when you are accessing, you have to pass those properties as parameters. That is one option. Now, next, what is another technique you learned? You learned use context. Am I right? What is this? Use context hierarchy is what? What is the hierarchy of use context? Use context hierarchy is, it is also parent child. It is also parent and child. It is also parent and child. But what hierarchy of child is? So child at any level. Am I right? Child at any level. So, or actually, this is very important here. At any level within the context. Within the context. Within the context means what? You have to make sure that all childs are within the same context memory. If any child is outside the context memory, that means actually they must be in context provider scope. Understood? All these child elements must be in the provider scope. Actually, some child elements may be outside the provider scope. If any child element is outside the provider scope, use context cannot deliver. That means it is possible only when all child elements are within the context scope. Within the context scope. Understood? That means they cannot be outside the context scope. Okay, what's next? Anything else? So we used use reducer. What is use reducer? What is the use reducer hierarchies? Use reducer also makes the data available between, actually it is between, use reducer is between requests. It is between requests. between requests of component. That means the same component have multiple requests. If the same component have multiple requests to share information from one request to another between the request of same component, then you can use reducer. You can use this use reducer. Use reducer is used for handling between requests of a component. Between requests of a component, I showed you, like add to cart. That means I click add to cart, it added. After that, I said removed cart, it is removed. That means, is it from another component? No, it is not from another component. In the same component across multiple requests. Across multiple requests. Then generally we call this as between requests. Okay, what is next? What is another technique? We used cookies. Remember, cookies are also used for transporting data from one component to another. You have seen user registered. After registering, the data is transported to the login component, right? From login to success component. Data is transported from one component to another component. This is across components. Understood? Across components. Anything else? Just now you have seen how to use Redux store. Redux store is also used for transporting data across components. Across components, you can transport the data. So these are actually various techniques of transporting data from one component to another. Right? This is very frequent question. Almost you can expect this question in every React interview. That means, what are the various techniques of transporting the data and what is difference between them? So knowing about these and knowing about difference between them, right? These are important things. So I hope you understood. Yeah, one more is there. Very good. So another one, what is it? Transporting data from one component to another component. One more is there. Use params. Use params. Use params is what? It is route parameter. Na? By using route parameter also we can transport. Route parameter across components. Across components you can transport the data. I hope you say this also. How we can transport data from one component to another. That actually we used a simple parameter, but the parameter can be an object. The parameter can be any type of data. We sent a number or a string type, but it can be any type. You can handle any kind of data. Through route parameters also you can use. Anything else that we learned? These are all the concepts, how we can use and how we can work with that, right? So this is generally how we can use state and why we need state, where to use the state. These all concepts we have learned, right? Make sure that you have learned all this. So you practice these, you have complete awareness on these, because these are all regular interviews questions, right? Now once you are good in this, now one more overview I will give, overview only, because this is not for everybody. So we will see an overview of React Native, a simple overview of React Native. Actually, what is React Native library? React Native is, we learned React Material. React Material is for designing components, right? So we have built-in components, we can implement them and we can make the application better. Actually, React Native is for the people who are building applications for this. We don't need JW token. Who is this? Narayan, because I already showed you with complete backend database. I explained that point already. With a complete backend database, I showed you. JW tokens are nothing before that, right? Actually, I showed you complete end-to-end integration. MongoDB database, middleware, API, Express, and Node.js. It is more larger scope and high-level example than JW token. JW tokens are used by the people who don't know any backend and all, temporarily to satisfy the concept of understanding how registration, login, all this data is maintained. People who don't know any backend technologies, they generally use this. Generally, your trainers will tell you about JW token because they don't want to involve you in backend technologies. But we haven't done that. That is the reason I am not wasting the time with this JW token that you can also learn. It is just a JavaScript token. So you can install, you can store data, you can access data, but we done a real world complete example. We learned MongoDB, we learned Node.js, creating APIs, sending data, fetching data, CRUD operations I showed you, right? That is a very huge, large example than after all JW tokens, okay? That's the reason I will not take on that JW token. You can explore by yourself. It's a very simple one. Why people learn this? Because people come from different backgrounds without having knowledge of backend technologies. For such people to show end-to-end integrations, generally many times people show concepts with JW tokens. So we already learned that complete approach without that. So using MongoDB and all. So that's not required actually. If you want an example, I will give an example sample, a document I will upload. You can go through that, right? These are all not necessary to learn if you are already aware of higher concepts. Okay. Next, React Native is nothing but actually it is for making React Native is for making so your Android and iOS apps, Android and iOS apps. So with more effect means making your iOS apps user interface more rich. That is what React Native is going to do. That means already people who are learning development of mobile apps with Android and iOS like frameworks. You have to learn Android iOS frameworks. For such people who are building apps with Android iOS frameworks, to make the apps richer in interface, they use integration of React. They use integration of React. Not only React, actually, I hope you people know. So you can, there are so many, there are various frameworks used for making mobile apps, actually mobile apps more interactive. There are so many. Actually, you have like we have Apache Cordova. We have Apache Cordova. You have like Ionic. You have like native script. So you have this one. So you have people use Flutter also, right? For developing such applications. And you have like, this is React Native, all these. Generally, these are all different types of frameworks available. And actually, these are used for building applications. You see, so this is application. What is it? Cordova Apache. Yeah, this is Apache Cordova. Yeah, this is Apache Cordova, and this is for building applications with Android, iOS, Windows applications with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Now you can replace this with React. That means after all, with JavaScript also we can build mobile apps, good interface for mobile apps. But now you can replace that JavaScript with React. Angular also use it. You can use Angular, React like technologies. This is very popular in building mobile apps. So, but for this, actually, you need to learn mobile frameworks. Huh? So you have like another one is native script. This is native script. This is also for building so cross-platform mobile apps. You can see this is native script. Native script is also used for building applications. You can build with JavaScript, you can build with TypeScript, you can build with Angular, Vue, React, and all. You have a lot of things. That means these are different frameworks actually. And you have framework like Ionic framework. Ionic is another very popular one. This is also used, this is mobile. That means you can build cross-platform mobile apps with all these technologies, React, Angular, Vue. And you can see these are all the companies which are using them. That means Ionic framework. And you will see that everything looks similar. That means you just learned a material. Na? So these frameworks have such components, material like components, you can use them. Your React knowledge is same. There is no change. Only the point is how it is going to integrate and display in the mobile environment. That means what happens is these frameworks will provide a better interface for building good mobile applications. So these require complete knowledge of technologies like Android and iOS. You can't simply come and say that I want to build a mobile app with React. It's not possible. React is not for building mobile app. React is for making the UI of mobile apps effective. And why React Native is required then? Why can't we use direct React? Why? Because actually React uses HTML components. React uses HTML components which are not suitable or not native for home mobile environment. They are not suitable for mobile environment. Then what happens? React Native provides components which are suitable for mobile apps. That means mobile platforms, or you say mobile environment like Android, iOS. That means just simple. For example, here you are using a span. You are using a span or div or something. So there you will use a text. Right? That means they provide suitable components for that. So what appearance looks same, but what is advantage of native components? The advantage of native components, they are perfectly fit for mobile environment. Let's see one simple example here. Actually, for that we need to learn, means I will show you. We need to create an app. The difference I will show you here. React Native, some React Native related library components. What are those? I will show you. React Native components, how they look like. In the desktop files. Yep. These are React hooks are there. This is just there. Some components list. I think I have in another desktop. Fine. It's not here. Okay, fine. You can, we will find from this website itself. Because just I have a table. The table shows the comparison, which you can see in their official website also. The table comparison shows in HTML which component and what is the component suitable in your Android apps or iOS apps. That is the difference table. I will show you that. So this is the React Native. Yeah. In this React Native, so you can just go into the development guides components. Yeah, these are the components. You can see the basic components. These are the components. Means it will same provide you all the components in the similar format. These are the components suitable for different environments. These are components. You can see these are very commonly used components. Actually, this is view. That means it is used for designing a container. And for divs and displaying text, you can use text. For controls, you can use text input. For pictures, you can use image. Actually, in our HTML, what they are, this image is what img, right? But here you have an image element. This text is what? Text is nothing but it is a span or a div, which is used for displaying some text, right? This text input is what? It is nothing but it refers to input type is what? Text. These are components actually. Why we can't use HTML components? Because they don't fit into mobile like environment. They are not good. They are not native. They will take time. For mobile apps, this is good. You see, there is specialized category. Android components are separate. iOS components are separate. And some are cross-platform also. That means they are suitable for both. You are building, because you know that some apps are specialized only for iOS. They don't run on Android. Some apps are not suitable for iOS. They are only for Android. If you are building such native apps, you have separate components for them. They are just like material. How you learned Angular material or React material or Bootstrap icons, same. In React, you learned React material. It is similar, right? I will show you. For that, first what we have to do is we have to create. So we need to create an application. How to create an application? Actually, React Native uses Expo library. It uses an Expo library. This is the library required for integrating React into Android and iOS environments. So you have to create an app with this Expo library. Let's check here in the documentation. You see how to create an application. So you see create Expo app and how to run npx expo start. Right, let's create an Expo app and see how it will work. So let's open in my command line. So I will change to my some E drive. Here I am creating npx. Npx is already there in our option. So we have create Expo app. Expo app and app name, I will say mobile React some mobile app. So React mobile app. I will make sure that there is nothing by that name. In my E drive, yeah, there is no React There is React Mobile. Fine. I am giving React Mobile app here. Okay, let's enter. So we are creating a React Mobile app. So, and this is using Expo library. Now you are developing not a direct React application. It is actually an Android iOS application using React only for UI front end, right? That means React people can use the knowledge of their React in building good interfaces for mobile applications. Now, I hope you know already in the beginning itself, I told you, if you remembered. So if anybody asked you, what is difference between mobile and distributed application? What is difference between a mobile and distributed application? You know, in your mobile, you are using so Netflix, or you are using Amazon, or you are using WhatsApp. So WhatsApp, right? You are using Skype. Do you know these are all what kind of apps? They are all distributed apps. They are not mobile apps. They are all not mobile apps. They are all under the category of what? Distributed applications. Distributed application. They are not mobile apps. Actually, mobile apps means what? You have a calculator, you have a calendar, you have a phone book, ever right? So you have a gallery. All these comes under what? These all comes under mobile apps. These are actually mobile apps. These are mobile apps. That means, for example, you are using an app, and that app is asking, I need an internet connection to get information. That app is asking, I need an internet connection for getting information. Then that is not a mobile app. That is called as an distributed app. YouTube, Facebook, whatever you are watching on mobiles, they are all distributed applications. Mobile application means what? Mobile native. They work mobile native. That means even you are not connected with internet, you can access and you can use and you can handle some interactions in them. That is what actually mobile native applications. These are all distributed. So we are building these applications. So it is creating all the files here. So to create, this is the process. Distributed applications are part of web applications only. They are part of web application, but their web application different, distributed application different. Web application means what? You are watching Netflix on browser. That is Netflix web application. You are watching Netflix on Netflix app. That is Netflix distributed application. That means many people have both. They have their web applications and they have their distributed applications. So creating an application, create React native app application. For that, just you need to use this. So npx create expo app, and you have to give some app name. That's what you have to do. And we need to start. So npx expo start. Expo start. This is for starting the projects, applications. It's a huge library, lot of content will be there. Actually, to run this and test them, browsers are not good. What you have to do is you have to download Android Studio. You know, Android Studio, iOS development studios will be there. Apple Studio, Android Studio, you have to download actually. We have Android Studio. Yeah. This is what generally people who are learning mobile applications, they do. What they do is they download this Android Studio. Once they download the Android Studio, what they can do is they can connect the Android phones, and if they done with Mac, they can use that, and they can connect those devices and they can directly test the apps. They will give you simulators and they will allow you to directly test also, right? So this is actually Android Studio, but don't try this until or unless you are working on it, because it is very huge. It's a lot of memory consumed actually. Until or unless you are directly working on them, don't try that. So not required. You can currently test in a browser. In a browser, mobile simulators will be there. You can test on them. Right. Okay, so this is finished. It is done. A new version is there, but it's okay. This is ready. Let's open this environment. Yeah. So let's go open this project. You can just see the environment. Actually, this is React mobile app. Yeah, you can see this is the environment it is having. And in this, you can find, yep, this is the app. Yep. You can see this is app.js. And this is the same interface. That means all React related concept you will find same. Okay. Just only the point is the way how it displays. It is different. Right. This is a simple one. Actually, you have assets where all these images are present. Actually, it is a simple component. We created a simple component, means a simple application. Actually, what you can do is there are ready-made templates in Expo. Ready-made templates means you can select which template you want. Template means they will give you with ready-made set of pages also, components, just like you have app component. Like that, with 3-4 components, they will design one template and they will give to you. You can customize that according to your requirement. But here you can see this is the basic view. You will not feel any difference here. Just only the point is you import native components. Suppose you want a button, then what you have to do? You want a button or an icon. You can see there is a button class. And you need to add a button here. That means a button component you need to add. That means you need to create a button here. And in the button, we need to configure. Suppose this is get started something. Get started like this. Now, actually, these are like material components. That means they have some attributes. Button disabled, button enabled, button related attributes. All this information you will get from their official library, right? And you can see here how to run this application. Let's check how we can run this application. I'm just using, let's open the terminal. What is it? NPX expo what? Start. It is a pure, just like your ordinary React application. Only the point is don't use HTML. Don't use HTML. No more HTML here. So what you have to do, you have to use the complete concept of components built for React native library. That means use their components only. Don't use the HTML markup related any element here, like anything like even a body or a head or sections like that. It is starting and you can see it shows a QR code also. QR code, this is for, you can scan on your mobile and you can even test this if you are connected through the studios. Web is not supported here. It is having some debug. Oh, These are not installed actually. That means it is asking to open Android and all, but they are not there installed in my. You need to install that SDK actually. That is the problem. Means it is just asking to Android SDK is not there. Let me check. We will use for web directly. Expo start web I will use. Because those environments need to be installed. If it is not installed, let me copy this one. It's not running. Let's run Android web and Expo start web. I have old version. I think that is the reason it is unable to launch it. Actually, I have a very older version of this library Expo. I have to once update the development kit. We need to install. some problem in my node version I am having. Actually, it is asking for a new version to set up and install. It's okay. Because I have multiple versions, that is the issue. You can just try this directly. It will work for you. I will update in my machine once by removing all the previous version so that I can show you the preview also how it looks like. Okay. Meantime, you can try this. Expo start is it's not there, right? Actually, so it is saying that our version is very much higher, and Expo is currently actually it is version supporting issue is there. It is just showing that here you can see it is saying that I am using 18 of Node.js, and Expo is not yet tested against 18. That means it is asking me to degrade to the older version. It is saying that use the older version, right? Node.js. So I can't do to the older version. It will affect other projects, but you can try this, right? If you have any older version installed, that is 17 or any version. So because this is the latest version of Node.js we have in our PC. So if you have that, then it is nothing but just it will show you a browser. In the browser, what you can do is you can feel like it is a mobile app, right? It just shows mobile like environment. Okay. I will try to install, no need actually, because if I try to install older version, then all other applications will affect for me. You try that, right? Just I given an overview. This is not a serious concept to learn for you, because this is just to understand how React is designed and used for mobile environment. Just process I showed you, right? You can try that. Just if you have any older version, check once. Only the point is you will feel the interface is good for what kind of applications? Mobile application. Okay. Now, once you are good with this, now we will go into another major concept. I will give a complete overview of how to use Webpack. This is very important. This is not asked for freshers, but for experienced people, this is mandatory. Right, at experience level, you should need to have a knowledge on Webpack. Webpack means now the first question asked to you is how your React index.html is using all the library without linking any HTML page, without linking any script file. Understood? That means the first question asked to you in interviews is, in index.html, there is no script linked. Then how React script is working for index.html? That is the first regular question comes to every fresher. How it is doing that? Because of Webpack. So that means what Webpack will do, it will configure your project so that in that configuration, you can tell what are the resources to be used by your pages. So without linking the resources to the pages, you can access and use them. That is the ability of Webpack. There are so many things. We can use Webpack, we can use parcel. There is a parcel concept also. But React applications are built and used with which one? Webpack. Now here you will learn how to build a complete React application from scratch, end to end, how we can build. That means blank, so empty project, and we add all the files manually. And we will create a React application. For that, you need to understand Webpack. So Webpack, testing, and deployment. These three are the topics left. We will discuss in next session. These are the three topics. With that, we can finish our React concept. Webpack, testing, and deployment. Testing, how test happens, unit tests, how we do. Deployment, that means how to publish our projects onto cloud live, how we can make them live. These three things we will discuss. Monday will continue with that, right? In Monday session, we will discuss about working on Webpack. Okay, right.